Sheepdog's got a new friend right here. They are bros now. Both these were purchased at Midway. We've got a spring kit for the 1022 from Wolf Springs. We've got a little Bell and Carlson mag release for the 1022. Super inexpensive. They changed the gun completely for the better. I think this is like Pro Mag or something, it seems like. Just a little rubber stopper for your bolts so it hits the back of the gun softer. But considering that these things have lasted for years and years and years, maybe, I don't know if that actually even matters. The challenge is on these Rugers, they're awesome guns, but you want to remove the magazine and you got to get your finger up and push in there. And as you can see, that's just horrifically difficult. Here's a flat-based version, and they don't fit these guns just perfectly, but a little bit more difficulty getting out. It doesn't like to come out very easy. We were actually just discussing that before going over this, about how much of a pain in the butt that is to get out. Because you got to push that in and then pull on this side to get that out. The secret is pushing the crossbolt safety halfway on fire, halfway on safe, so that you can get this out of the stock. The only thing I don't like about these is that you do have to take the whole thing apart to disassemble. Once you get that off there, you just pull these two pins. There's this little metal pin right back here, and that keeps the bolt from going back far enough to be able to disassemble it. You just push that out. That's probably never been out. And then you just pull this back, and that allows that to go back farther. And then you can pull the bolt out.
Oh yeah.
This little red piece right here. The reality is it's just a
rubber bumper.
Yeah. So this little notch, that's where that rides.
Oh, okay.
Then you just push it out. All right, now it's cycling.
Yeah.
When it hits, instead of hitting the metal, it hits that.
Oh yeah. I like that better.
This is the part that kicks my butt a little bit. I know how to do this. I don't know if I do it right. I can get it back together.
That's the main thing.
You take, it's all just pins. So that pin holds that little spring. And there's the ejector. Pull out this pin right here. You kind of push on this little spring thing here. So that then you have this pin. One thing is though, once you enter in here, it's not like it's hard, but once you've done it, you're dedicated to it. And then if it doesn't work, then you just go to the gunsmith and
Gunsmith and have him put back together.
yeah, or do like Waldo did.
What did he do?
He just bought a new trigger group.
Oh.
So the way this spring works, this is the hardest spring to get in there, because that trigger group looks like this.
Yeah.
But you've got to get this piece in the right spot and this spring holding into that little detent.
Oh yeah.
And that's the hardest one of all. After you pull the trigger out, that one just slides out like this. So this one is the same on both ends. So you just put that in there. So do you have the sear spring?
Yeah.
Okay. And the nice part with this group here too is you have this detent and that detent, and they have to meet up. So when we did the AR and we made that slave pin, that's probably the best way to do. You put the slave pin in there, and then you can keep the pressure as you drop the spring in. Okay, so I've kind of got it pinched in the trigger forward. All right, hey, that worked. I just pushed it together, dropped it down.
Oh yeah.
Well, if I would have done that before, that would have saved me hours. And then it's just getting those holes to line up. And so yeah, I think the trick would be to make a little slave pin. That actually wasn't too bad.
Yeah, that worked pretty good.
Way better. So yeah, so that's the secret. Just push it together, hold the spring, then slide it into place and jiggle the pin. You gotta push it down so this half moon clip can come out, and then I've got to push the new one down. Have you slide that little half moon clip or whatever that is in there. This is definitely a two-person job.
Yeah, that's a two-person job. I always start a project like this about 10:30 at night. I'm the only person around,
And then
then you do say bad words.
but that just drops. There's a little hole in the back of the trigger guard,
Oh yeah.
and that allows this spring to compress and the piston inside to go down. The hardest part is just
Putting 10 pieces together all at the same time.
without them falling apart. Yep. Get that to line up. Right there.
It came apart a lot easier than it's going back together.
Yeah, that's the fun part of this thing. Then I'm going to take this spring and I want to rotate it up a little bit. And we'll drop that down.
I think the instruction book on this thing said don't ever take it apart.
Line that up. This spring's going to kind of dangle. Now we can drop this in there. And I don't know if you can see that, but there's like a little notch. I guess I pull this out. There's a notch right here.
Oh yeah.
And that's where this part of the spring. And that helps you to know that this needs to be on the inside versus the out. If it's on the out, it's going to get screwed off. The best part is, the more you do it wrong, the more you
learn to do it right.
So now we're going to redo this part again. And I'll cut that part out so no one knows that I put this in too early. But we put this piece in here. This is the instruction manual that came with this, but it helps you to remember how all these pieces go together if you forget. So I'm just going to line that up so I can see that hole close. Slide that up in. I'll have to push on the spring there. Get that in there. Now this will hold that. Line that up roughly and then just jiggle it till it all goes together. This lever it kind of impedes the access to this slightly, but not to the point where you can't use it. It's perfectly okay because your magazine will be in like this and you can still manipulate all that. Oh, criminally. Okay, we're gonna do that one again because twice is not enough. 3 times is the charm. Take this out. Make sure that this spring is up so that the bent piece is in the up position so that when it comes down, it'll rest on top of that. Now when that rests, now that rests on that, and now this thing is spring loaded. The ejector goes into that slot. So this pin has to go through here, then through the bolt release. Then it needs to hold this piece in there. It'll have it suspended, and it has to hold this spring down. And the nice part on the bolt release and the bolt lock, it's a fairly large hole, so you can line that up pretty easy. So now that goes together there. You can push this down. There you go. And now we can do a function test. So you press on that and the magazine release is engaging.
Mm-hmm.
You can press on this. You can see that that's going up, and then your bolt, the way it's designed, that causes your bolt lock, and then it holds it in place. And then to release it, you would pull the bolt back, and you just kind of push on the front and push it. You just
Push it
rotate
back
it,
out, yeah.
and now it's out of the way.
And somebody thought that all up.
Yeah, it's ingenious.
It really is.
We don't want this to go forward without pressure on it, but now we can test to make sure that the sear is working. It's always good to check that out beforehand. So now I'm kind of curious. I don't think you can. Oh, you can. Never mind. You can actually get this out without disassembling the whole thing.
Oh yeah. You just can't get it back in.
Yep. That's the problem. All right, now, okay. And then, but you do want to make sure that drops down low.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of rides in there. So, all right. Now that we got the easy part done, take that, it just goes in there like so, and then you take your pins, and they just fit into place, like that.
Perfect.
And then your stock holds everything together. This is the one that's always a pain in the butt, right? With
Yeah.
the flat bottom.
Uh-huh.
So if we take this and click that into place, we can test that now. Just push that forward.
Yeah, it'll fall right out.
Just tighten this screw, put the barrel ring back on. I try to wedge it a little bit,
Yeah.
and it doesn't scrape on the barrel. We want to test it out?
Yeah. Let's put the goofy one in first. Oh, there we go.
It doesn't drop quite out
doesn't.
like the other, but it comes out way easier than it used to, it seems like.
Yeah, all you do is touch it, it comes out. You don't have to dig it out. Yeah, that one falls out a little easier. Yeah, that's 100% better than it ever was. You just have to be smart enough to buy the right piece when you buy it. And it works with the big one.
The trigger on this one actually was one of the best 10-23 triggers I've ever pulled. On mine was horrific. It was like dramatic change. This one probably had limited gains, but it's still.
It's still better than it was. but
Yeah.
The original one was good.
But as after this wears in, it should
Be better.
get better with
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.